So I'm shooting from the spare room again because it's been raining for the last 2 weeks. It's the start of the wet season, so I haven't been able to get out into the garden. But I had an interesting week this week. It's kind of like it just went. Like, I lost a day. It was really weird. It's like all of a sudden it was Thursday and I was like, what just happened? It was like, wow, crap. Okay. Yeah, I had my 28th birthday last Friday, which was really beautiful, and I remember saying to Adam, oh, what am I going to do for my birthday? And he's like, you know, do whatever you want to do. And I was like, I'm going to host a workshop. Yeah, I really, you know, helping people and providing that space for deep healing or to go really deep within the self is what really makes me happy. It's a gift that I love to share, and I get so much back from it. So I was really blessed for the women that decided to come along, and it was a trial run for me. It was a new workshop that just came through, I think about a week and a half before I decided to do it. So yeah, it was really beautiful. Got some good feedback from it, which is awesome, and it's definitely something that I will be doing in the future. And it was awesome to see how I could weave that around being a mother of 2. So yeah, this week I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on the shadow self, and I know the video last week was really well received and I got some awesome feedback from it, so that's great. And I really feel that this dialogue needs to come up in individuals and in partnerships and relationships that we have with others. And it's all too often the big elephant in the room, you know. It's like you can kind of see it and it's there and it's niggling away, but we all too often just prefer not to talk about it or try not to see it, and you know, we just turn away from it, and it's bubbling up to the surface. And yeah, so I really wanted to share tonight a valuable lesson that I learnt to do with excuses. And this came about probably in the last 1.5 years in my life, and it came about in a really funny way. And what I've learnt about that is, well, actually, just to backtrack, okay, so I'm not a very domestic person. Like, I am, but I'm not very tidy or organized, and I can be quite lethargic in not putting stuff away or doing washing, and I don't particularly like doing the dishes. And my house, my domain, can be in a state of chaos more often than not, and I'm not ashamed to say that anymore. It's like, this is something that I am actively working to create a better lifestyle for myself and to create a more cleaner environment and more tidier, because I've realized that, you know, chaotic environment leads, and clutter leads to a cluttered mind, and I can't function properly in that. So it takes effort with a capital E. And so anyway, back to excuses. I realized that, you know, that was a domain that I wanted to change in myself, because I was making excuses about it. And whenever somebody would come over uninvited, or they'd just rock up, and they'd come in and I wasn't prepared, I hadn't cleaned the space, then this thing would arise in me, and it just was this awkward twitchiness. Like, I was like, oh, and then an excuse would come out, and I'd be like, oh, I'm really sorry about the mess, or, you know, don't worry about that, or blah, blah, just come sit out here, and, you know, and I was being really defensive of the environment that I was then, what's the word? I had a mental blank, that I was inviting people into, or that people were seeing. People were seeing my shit, really. And so I started evaluating why was I making excuses? And I came to the understanding and the realization that it was like an aha moment for me, that I really wasn't comfortable in that space myself, and that on a higher level, in my higher self, I wasn't happy with what was playing out. And so I would make an excuse because I really didn't want it to be that way, and that I could see myself living in a better light, or being in a more authentic manner, and that wasn't my authentic expression. So I would mask it with an excuse to validate what was happening and what was transpiring, to validate my procrastination and my lethargy. So that was really, really interesting. And when I had that key insight, I started to listen to other people's excuses, and I am slowly becoming more confident in being able to call people up on their shit, but in a really gentle and compassionate manner. I'm not really the one for full-on confrontation unless there's a need for it. I kind of have a bit more of a peacemaker vibe going on when I like to express and talk things out on a even keel, and to find resolve in that rather than just going at it gung-ho with expressing, because it can push people further back. So yeah, going into the shadow self, we can make excuses for not doing the work. And I haven't done this because of this, and I'll do that later, and we put things off and we make excuses for it. So what I am really drawing my attention to in my own evolution of self, and as I unfurl myself and peel back the layers, is what am I making excuses for, and why am I doing that? Is there a deeper undercurrent to that excuse? Is it coming from a form of ego? Is my ego running about that then needs to make an excuse to validate and justify the actions that aren't exactly an authentic expression? Or is it coming from my lower self state that is being defensive to not step up because it's happy just doing what it's doing? Because when you realize that there's a need to change, and you can have the realization and the aha moment and the key insights, and you can learn the lessons, but it means jack shit if you're not putting it into practice. You'll find that you will perpetuate the same patterns and the same cycles, and the same things will come up in your life if you haven't truly put that lesson into practice. And it's kind of like your way of creating momentum and creating patterns, and so that you can evolve and so that things can get done. So it's like we create our own circumstances for what we need to change and we need to grow. Sometimes it's a gentle push, sometimes it's bang, like you got to hit rock bottom. Sometimes you have to really fully break yourself apart to find the medicine and to have that aha, okay, I get it now, all right, enough is enough. Sometimes you need to reach that point to really get the momentum behind you, and the passion and the bee in your bonnet, in the sense of that drive to actually want to move forward and to be the change that you wish to see in the world. We need to have a weight of experience of those lessons to want to put them into practice, because otherwise it's just really easy to just do it tomorrow and put it off. So that's what's come up this week. And a beautiful sister had written an email to me. She's so lovely, Beck. Thank you. I really, really love reading your words and hearing your journey unfold. It's so beautiful, and it really touches my heart. And you really touched upon something that I didn't express very well in the last video, which was to do with I said something along the lines of, you know, no amount of workshops or books or guidebooks are going to do the work for you, and they're not. They're just tools, you know. Yes, go and seek different ways to expand your consciousness and to allow you to trigger different things inside you, just so that you know where the work is that needs to be done. But they're just tools, right? So you're the one that has to use the tool to unlock whatever. Or they, you know, another analogy is the key, you know, the key. You can have all these keys, but unless you have earned it, in a sense that you know what door it's going to open for you, the key means nothing. It's just going to be a weight. So you've got to do the work and have an understanding of using those tools and when to wield them, to then put them into practice. And it's only you that can do it. A facilitator of a workshop is just there to show you a way, if you choose it. You know, that's claiming responsibility for your own journey. You're on your own journey, and everybody needs to cultivate their own unique individual tools and step forward on their own path. You can be inspired by other people, but don't ever follow, you know. And if you have somebody that's in a leadership position, if they're telling you to follow them, then that's not an authentic manner of what leadership is. Because leadership is stating it forward and saying, okay, this is what's worked for me. Here are the tools. Here they are, laid out. It's very transparent. Take what you will from it and find your own way. Forge your own path ahead. Because I am on my own path with heart. I'm on my own journey. I have my own dreaming to align to. It's going to be different from the next person and the next person and the next person. And when you come into the realms of partnership, like real partnership, that's a journey of walking together, side by side, but still on your own individual paths with your own dreaming. But you have a common weaving and a common thread that allows you to walk side by side in your unique expressions, but still joined as a unit, as a super whole, if you will. So yeah, blessings and all my love. And yeah, next week I think I'm gonna do something a little bit different. And I hope that as these videos unfold, that yeah, I'm just gonna challenge myself to find new ways of expression and new ways to do video blogs. I don't feel that this whole journey is going to be me sitting in front of a camera in a spare room talking for 10 to 15 minutes, you know. So I could imagine that could be quite boring to listen to. You know, I kind of get over listening to myself talking in my head anyway. Yeah. Awesome. I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope that you go deep into your shadow self, into those places that we all too often neglect and don't want to look at, and do it with a sense of humor as well. Don't take life so seriously. Don't get swept up in the story. It is what it is, and just allow things to bubble up to the surface and let that emotion flow. It's energy in motion, you know, just let it rise up, feel it, and transmute into whatever that needs to be. Yeah, okay.